Hello guys and girls, Helen the Russian here. It seems like in the last couple 3 weeks the biggest topic is Steve Wynn and the accusations of sexual harassment. So I try to keep this video factual and keep my editorial opinion out of it. It's neither here nor there, but let's just stick with the facts. Steve Wynn, he is a great visionary as far as building resorts and casinos. We all agree with that. His properties are absolutely spectacular. Great testament to that is the fact that, at some point MGM very much wanted to buy his casinos and ended up doing so. They bought the Mirage, Treasure Island, Bellagio, his other casinos like Treasure Island and Golden Nugget, definitely been bought by other people and doing great till this day. And it's funny, I'm looking at the comments on the news and a lot of people, I don't think they realize, they know history. It's not even that long of a history, but they don't know that. But yep, that's all went on. But more to the point. These accusations came out. I do believe Steve did the right thing by stepping down voluntarily. I can guess it was extremely hard for him, but he did so for the good of the company. Because if he remained, that the whole thing would not go away, I don't think, not in this day and age. And it would affect the company and the future projects, because as many of you know, Wynn Corporation purchased the land across from Wynn, so it would be like roughly across from the fashion show mall and across from Wynn, so kitty corner in there. And they're planning to build Wynn West, so another mega resort, which probably going to be even more spectacular than what we've seen so far. But more to the point, one has to wonder, realistically, again, I certainly do not condone or support Wynn's behavior, and I've been a victim of sexual harassment at the workplace. Not at the Wynn, I never worked at Wynn Properties, but I know how it feels. I support the women who fight against it, most definitely. I'm definitely on the front row of that fight. But let's just be realistic. I always say, let's not forget the history, and to me it seems odd how people forget the history. Here is the thing. What is now being touted as news, in all actuality, it's not news. When it first came out, I looked at it, was on CNN, I go, that's news? How's that news? And the reason being, because everybody knew. Well, most of the people, I'm assuming. Well, for starters, don't take my word for it. Let's not. I'm sure most of you either heard of or read this book. This one. The book created quite a stir when it was first published. It was first published in January of 2001. 2001. First printing, right there. It's so you can see it. First printing, 2001, right? Written by John L. Smith. He is a reporter for Review Journal. The book was very controversial because at the time Steve Wynn was extremely popular, really well liked in Las Vegas by pretty much 99.9% of the people. Steve Wynn tried to quash the book. He filed a libel suit. The suit did not succeed. Book did end up published. But let's just look at the book, because John L. Smith, he focused on supposed mob ties, and to be honest with you, a lot of it, I'm reading through it, very, very superficial and kind of strenuous connection. It's kind of like saying, like, for instance, that's a true story. I have an acquaintance. He's not really close friend, but he's an acquaintance. He's an older gentleman. I've done some real estate deals with him. I see him on a fairly regular basis, once every couple of months or so. Well, he often talks to me about a friend of his. Now, that's his very close friend. I mean, they are the best buddies. They see each other all the time. Supposedly, that friend is in Las Vegas Black Book. I'm sure all of you know what the Black Book is. It's very much, it is real, it's a legit thing. It was started by Nevada Gaming Commission back in the 50s, I believe. and it's basically persons that are not wanted in the casinos. Their mere presence is not desired, and mostly it has to do with the fact that they have mob connections. It has to do with reputation. So casinos and gaming commission could not be embarrassed by presence of those people and people possibly making connections. Well, I never met that friend of my acquaintance ever, but not to say it will never happen in passing at lunch, whatnot. But even though one could say, oh, but you know, she was doing business with this guy and he is the best friend with the known person from the Black Bull, so there you go, she has this mob connect. I don't. I really don't. But do you see how easy it is? So a lot of this book is situations like that. They're not direct interactions of Steve Wynn with known mob figures, but this over the chain and sometimes 3 persons removed connections. Anyhow, but what even John L. Smith at the time, remember the book was published in 2001 when things like sexual harassment went on rampart everywhere, and it was pretty much a given thing, I guess, everywhere. And so even John only given, or I don't know, not even like page and a half to something, but look at this, back to the statement that nothing is news. So here's John on page 221 of this particular version of the book. Here, if Steve Wynn's interest in athletic activities has been somewhat eclectic over the years, his obsession with sexual conquest has remained constant. From the most beautiful women in Las Vegas to some downright homely hired help. Wynn's ever-changing circles of celebrity pals and sexual partners were witnessed by Ron Tacky. Now, just so you know who Ron Tacky is, Ron Tacky was, for a very long time, Steve's business assistant, you can say. I mean, he was his man who was standing by his side and doing all kinds of gopher, I guess. Gopher would be, Ron had a proper title, by the way. I mean, he was getting paid and whatnot, but gopher would be more likely title for him. They fell out at some point, and Ron did relay quite a few things about Steve, so that's Ron Tacky talking about. And just so you know about his position, so over the years, Ron Tacky went from the manager of the downtown Golden Nuggets valet parking to the general manager of the exclusive Shadow Creek golf course. Before quitting the company after a pay dispute in 1993, Tacky accompanied Wynn everywhere as his personal aide, so gopher, right? Tacky found his employer's relentless pursuit of the next woman was nothing short of incredible. He's always up to something, at the dinner table, in the lounge, whatever, Tacky said. He's always got something going. I would say 300 women a year. 300 women a year is quite a bit, seriously. Oh yeah, boom, that's the over-under. I'd bet the over. So Ron would actually bet the over. I've seen him go from room to room to room and go from one to another, 3 or 4 a day. Women, he's talking about women. Now Ron is saying, I was amazed. When I was young and foolish, that happened a couple times with me, and the third one I couldn't do any justice to. I was no good, but I said, boy, this guy's something. He's talking about Steve Wynn. British journalist David Spanier wrote in All Right, Okay, You Win that Steve Wynn has the kind of magnetism and sexual energy which attract women and a reputation for dalliance. Now, that bit is true. I'm going to jump in with some personal observations. I've had several friends work at Mirage and Treasure Island back when it belonged to Steve Wynn, and I can tell you this sort of thing was not a secret. See, I'm back to not news. It wasn't, not even among lower-ranking employees. Steve Wynn did pursue quite a few employees, including the dealers, the waitresses, whatever staff on the floor. And having said, once again, I certainly don't support sexual harassment, trust you me. But having said that, my friends were realistic. Like, none of them participated in any way, well, mainly because 2 of them were guys and 1 was a woman, but nothing ever happened with her. But they did say very objectively, not trying to put anyone down, while some women didn't particularly welcome the advances, others, knowing how Steve Wynn is, were deliberately trying to get his attention and get on his path, because these kind of things usually were accompanied by monetary or otherwise gifts. It wasn't necessarily free, like he was quite generous, or various job perks and promotions. So, and again, I don't support that, and yeah, I know how it, I remember how it was. You know, if you wanted to really get up and up and up, you had to do certain things. But what I'm saying, very few women voluntarily tried to catch his eye, so to speak. I'm sure all of you know that Steve has macular degeneration disease, and it's at this stage, I doubt he sees much of anything. Back then, he could see a fair bit. So, right, back to this book. Wynn's personal 300 clubs includes encounters with Diana Ross and Dolly Parton, that are the stuff of legend around the hotel, but not all of his former bosses' partners were cover girl material. And here's his assistant, the gopher, talks again. Here's what he says. It doesn't matter if it's Lana Turner or Stomach Turner. When it comes to get laid, he has no taste at all. That's what Taki is saying. A beast or a beauty. So you didn't have to be particularly striking to get his attention. Although not every woman fell for Wynn's sales pitch, he managed to alienate actress Sharon Stone during the Las Vegas filming of Martin Scorsese movie Casino. So Sharon Stone obviously didn't go for it. According to Taki, Wynn would try to bed nearly every woman he met. So he'd send Elaine, his wife, home and kiss her goodbye in the casino at 11 o'clock and say, oh, Ron will bring me home later. And then as soon as she skedaddled out the door to valet, he'll say, Ron, excuse me, give me this number over here, go to room 1040. Then an hour later, Ron, let's go over there. I got one over here. Then at 2 o'clock, okay, take me home. So another long time Wynn associate put it less diplomatically. A lot of these girls fall for it hook, line and sinker. It becomes a glamorized form of prostitution down there. So back to what I said earlier. So this actually supports what I said. Yeah, a lot of girls were really trying, going out of their way to catch his eye. But anyhow, so this is the book. It's available on Amazon. You can get it yourself. Like I said, don't take my word for it. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. One has to wonder why all this is suddenly coming now as this huge breaking news. Never was news to anyone here. Everybody knew it. And I actually do not believe it's been going on, or not at least to this extent, in these later years. Probably not in the last 5 or 6, like I honestly don't think. He not only, Steve got old and probably come down, another thing is he can't really see. He really can't, and so it probably put a damper on things. The only thing that I'm very regretful about is Steve's ex-wife Elaine's name got mixed into it. I assure you, Elaine, of all people, she knew all about it. It was definitely not a secret to her. And if she wanted to bring it up in whatever divorce proceedings, she would have done it a long time ago. She has nothing to do with it. It's a shame her name got dragged into it. Elaine is, again, my opinion, not a gospel truth, but I think she's a decent woman and she was a good wife to Steve. He, decided to end the marriage or whatnot. That's their business. It's no one's business. But dragging her name into it was decidedly uncool. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed this bit of Las Vegas history, and with that, I bid you a good day.